Woo! Man, I got to tell you, that was close. I thought we were going to get through a season without hearing anything stupid out of Sheryl Swoopes' mouth and anything that sounds rather interesting, something that you might choose to give some side eye to.
The Indiana Fever surprised everyone in the WNBA by cutting not one, but two well-known rookies from the team. This unexpected move shocked the basketball world. While fans were still trying to understand what happened, Sheryl Swoopes, known for criticizing Caitlin Clark, suddenly spoke out again. But this time, she didn't just go after Caitlin. She criticized the entire Indiana Fever team.
And you have a black player that just got cut, and Sheryl Swoopes is not happy about that.
What seemed like a normal team update quickly turned into major WNBA drama, full of tension and headlines. Just when we thought Sheryl Swoopes had disappeared, she suddenly showed up again out of nowhere. What did she say this time? And how is the Indiana Fever responding to all the talk? Tell us in the comments what you think about Swoopes. Let's go.
Call me nuts, but unfortunately for the old WNBA fandom and media, in her case, media and old players, unfortunately, in some cases, you do feel like there is something else lurking behind said opinions that may not be basketball related. Let's put it that way.
Let's start with the cuts that grabbed everyone's attention. The Indiana Fever made one of the boldest preseason moves we've seen in a while. Bree Hall, yes, the same exciting guard and two-time national champ from South Carolina, was cut before she even got real playing time. That's right, she didn't play at all in the first game against Washington, barely played against Brazil, and then suddenly, she was off the team. And just when that shock was settling in, the Fever made another move.
Hall is now gone, as you know, and today it was announced that Yvonne Ejim has been waived by the Fever as well. Sophie Cunningham talked about that yesterday, saying you can latch on to another team, another place.
Just because you didn't make a roster doesn't mean you're out of the W.
Just 24 hours later, the team cut Ivana Egbo too, a top scorer from Gonzaga known for her heart and energy. Two rookies, both with impressive college careers and real potential, were let go before they even had a chance to settle in. They barely had time to get started, and suddenly, they were out. That's the harsh reality of professional sports. It's not always about talent, sometimes it comes down to timing, team needs, and numbers. It's where dreams run into the business side of basketball.
The Indiana Fever, as expected, have waived Yvonne Ejim. She's just not at the level that the Indiana Fever are hoping her to be at.
The Fever announced it directly. Thank you, Yvonne Ejim, who was the all-time leading scorer in Gonzaga history.
Being cut doesn't mean you're out of the WNBA forever. All three rookies, including Michaela Timpson, who's impressed during training camp and preseason, are really just competing for one open spot. That spot will most likely go to Timpson because the team needs younger forwards, and she brings strong defense and speed. Fans are calling her the steal of the draft since she was picked 19th, even though many thought she'd go much earlier.
Man, it's hard, right? We all reached out. I think that they brought really good people in, great people into training camp this year. But, just because you didn't make this squad, this is probably one of the harder rosters to make in the W this year. It doesn't mean you're out of the W. And you just got to keep ready, keep playing, keep grinding it out. And if it's hard to make the league. I know Sid and I, we were second rounders. We stuck. Her experience is a little bit different than mine, but just because you didn't make a roster doesn't mean you're out of the W.
Bree Hall being cut, Swoopes jumped in like she'd been waiting all off-season for this moment. Her response wasn't subtle, it was a strong, outspoken attack.
Michaela Timpson is obviously at a certain level. She's a rim runner. She just obviously has a higher ceiling than Ejim at the moment. And this is maybe a hot take.
On the latest episode of the Women's Hoop Show, Sheryl Swoopes didn't just share her opinion. She went on a full-blown rant. Her main target? Head coach Stephanie White. Swoopes claimed that White didn't just make poor decisions with the lineup, she ruined it. She questioned why Bree Hall was left on the bench while players with less potential were given more minutes.
After all, we saw Sheryl Swoopes in rare form, hating on Caitlin Clark all last year. Well, maybe she has figured out, hating on Clark, I've been told that's not really a great idea, yada, yada, yada. So, what other white girls can I tune up from the Indiana Fever?
Swoopes asked a sharp question. If the team was still deciding who to cut, why didn't Bree Hall get more playing time? And if that wasn't direct enough, the deeper message was even clearer. This wasn't just about skill or strategy. It was about who gets chances, who's trusted, and who's pushed aside before they can prove anything. And Swoopes wasn't done. She turned up the pressure, calling out the two players who did benefit from Coach White's decisions, Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull. She didn't just mention them, she questioned their place on the team in a very calculated way. Her comments sent a message that was loud enough to stir up conversations all over WNBA Twitter.
Was there, right? Because preseason is about, yes, you're going to play your starters, you're going to play your players. Typically, they don't even play that many minutes, right? Because you have so many players on your roster that you got to make roster cuts. So you're still trying to figure out who can fit what we're doing.
Then came the comment that made her point clear. Swoopes, with plenty of sarcasm, joked that maybe she should focus on helping the other white players on the Fever now that she was told to leave Caitlin Clark alone. That wasn't subtle, it wasn't just a dig, it was a direct shot, putting the spotlight on the issue and dropping a major narrative bomb.
I did have a question, though, with Indiana, right? Because even though the starters weren't in, like Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull they've been in the league for a while. You actually had players who, like Bree Hall, why wasn't she in that game per se? If you're still trying to figure out who's going to make the team, who you're going to cut. So I was a little confused with what Steph was doing.